I have been waiting for this day for so long. I finally get to share my book cover with everyone. Oh! Hi, I'm Wallace Kinney, but you can call me Wallissimo. My debut book comes out October 8th of this year. It's titled A Dark and Secret Magic, and today is the day that I get to do a cover reveal. I'm gonna show the cover in like 30 seconds. I'm not gonna make you wait for it. And then the rest of the video, I'm gonna talk about what I love about this cover and also kind of do a little bit of a deep dive into the whole process of designing the cover. So, drum roll. Let me scoot over. Boom. Ah, here she is. This is so weird. I'm pointing to nothing in air, but I'm envisioning it. I'm envisioning it right here. I'm gonna tell you this. When I first saw the concept, like the actualized concept for this cover, I screamed. I cried. I jumped around for joy. I was agog. Because here's the thing. I don't really like book covers. It's very few and far between that I see a cover on a book and I think, ooh, yes, that is beautiful. So I had kind of really been emotionally prepared to just sort of tell the marketing department at Alcove, it's whatever you want. Do whatever you're gonna do. I trust you. Because I recognize that I am completely uneducated when it comes to marketable book covers. And then the marketing department went ahead and made me this absolute masterpiece, and I couldn't believe it. Look at the glow around the book and the crescent moon. That is so pretty. And everything on this cover is so intentional. From the black cats to the pumpkins. I mean, it should come as no surprise. There are a lot of pumpkins in this story, so pumpkins had to make the cover. To the herbs at the bottom, to the open book, to the crescent moon. It's just, I mean, I think it's perfect. It's antique looking, it's cozy looking. What it looks like is that you walked into a witch's cottage in the forest and pulled this old spell book off of her dusty shelves. And that is basically the vibe of the book. My heart, I literally cannot handle how much I love this cover. I do want to specifically shout out the design and marketing team at Alcove, and specifically Rebecca Nelson. Rebecca really kept in contact with me and made sure that my voice and my opinion was heard, and that whole team just knocked it out of the park. And just as a little bit of a reminder, if you've been around this channel for some time, you will know that a couple of years ago, I actually had my own fleet of potential designs for this book back when it was called This Book is for October. And I'm just gonna give you a sampling of those so you can see the stark difference. If you want to see the whole video where I show, I think, about 7 of these insane covers and my general reactions to them, I have linked that below. But yeah, here are just 3. Can I pinpoint this extremely literal one that clearly I put 0 effort into? These 2 over here, there's a concept there that we're trying to reach into. This one, just, what was this? Quite the climb from this to this. So what was the general timeline for this whole process? Well, back in late November, so just a couple weeks after I got my official offer, the marketing department at Alcove reached out to me and actually asked for my input on what I would like to see on my cover. I did not think I was going to be asked this question, so I took the entire time that they allotted me. They asked for my feedback in 1 week, and I literally took the entire week to come up with my concept. And I'm just gonna read to you the email that I sent to them. I said, here's my brainstorm of ideas and motifs that are within the story. We have rosemary. My main character uses this herb a lot in her witchcraft. I feel like that would look nice on the cover. I said fall leaves. I said the forest and mist. I said cinnamon, as one of the characters in this book is often described as having a scent like cinnamon. Pumpkins, obviously. Shadows, that's an important one, and black cats. I also said, I think it would be cool for the cover to look a bit antique, as if it could be found in an old library. Again, I feel like they nailed this concept. And then I did say specifically, I said, in terms of dislikes, I do not like people on book covers, either real photographs or cartoon images. However, I know that this is a big trend, so I totally understand if the designer thinks it's best for people to be present. And I really was. I was prepared to have people on my cover, because if you go to a bookstore, that's what covers are these days. And that would have been okay. I trusted the marketing department. I knew that if they thought having a person on the cover would sell more books, then a person on the cover it should be. They also wanted to know if there were any other book covers that I especially liked. So I sent them 2 modern books. I sent them the cover of one of their own published books, which is The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. And I said I really liked the plant motifs on this. I liked how there was this focal point of the steaming teacup. I really enjoyed that. And I also sent them the Modern Girl's Guide to Magic, also with a beautiful plant motif that I liked. And then I literally went into the movie Hocus Pocus and took a screenshot of the very beginning where you like the camera is zooming in and the book opens and then you zoom into the pages and the movie begins. I took a screenshot of that book cover because I was like, honestly, if I'm being really completely straightforward with you, this is what I would love for it to look like. Drawing back to the idea of it being antique, just pulled off a dusty bookshelf, and that's really what I was going for, which I think you can also see in my attempt at designing my own cover a couple years ago, especially the one with the cottage. I feel like that was definitely my attempt to recreate the Hocus Pocus look. So I sent off all those notes in like mid-December, and then a couple weeks later in January, I got the first proposed sketches from Alcove, and they sent 2 concepts that were similar, but just with a slightly different variation, which looked like this. This was the moment I kind of began to realize what was coming, that I realized that they were really internalizing everything I told them. They were taking my notes so seriously. They were honoring my wishes for the book cover. I was so emo over these sketches. I showed everyone in my family. I would only show people if they were with me in person. I refused to make digital copies of this because I was so terrified that like they would get spread around the family. This is the point at which I became extremely excited to see the final version of the cover. Eventually it was decided that they were going to blend together some of the concepts. They were going to pull the crescent moon from one and superimpose it onto the other, just because the crescent moon is actually a little bit of like a miniature motif in my book. Also, they were going to rearrange the position of the ravens and the black cats, kind of switch them up a bit so it didn't look quite so perfectly symmetrical. And as you can see, that second sketch is very close to the final concept, because truth be told, when my agent and I both saw these, we were like, wow, basically, these are perfect, no notes, which even my agent was surprised by. She said to me once, she was like, wow, this is so unusual. Normally, when we're working on cover design, we go back 4 or 5 times to explore totally different concepts. It's like so rare that they just strike gold right at the start, but they did. Then a few weeks later, my editor sent me the colorized version, and this sent me into a grave. I was live streaming when this came into my inbox, and I actually have my legitimate initial reaction to this cover recorded. So I'm gonna put that clip here. It has no sound, so I'm just gonna talk over it. Obviously you can see I am in distress. I am shocked. I am floored. I can't breathe. I'm crying. I'm trying to maintain my composure because I know I am streaming, but also I know that I can't maintain my composure. So at a certain point, I just give up. Seeing it from sketch to colorized just made it feel so real to me. I couldn't believe it. And along with this email came the notes that they were thinking about moving that moon just a little higher up to make room for the title itself. And also they were going to brighten up the green in the background just a bit because it was fairly dark, which meant that they were worried the birds and the cats might not stand out against the background. So the final cover does have a bit of a brighter green background than this one does. But overall, this was the concept. I loved it. My agent loved it. Everything was eventually approved. And once we settled on a title, A Dark and Secret Magic, they incorporated that. They incorporated my name and also a little note, a novel, which kills me every time I see it in the best way possible. And that is the final cover design concept, which I'm showing you here again. So this was kind of the full progression of the process that I saw from my end. I'm sure there were many more iterations than were ever actually shown to me. I want to get these 3 images printed off and put into a tri-photo frame and have that on my desk or above my desk, just because I truly have never seen anything more wonderful. You know, back when I was saying I was emotionally prepared to not connect with my cover, what I mean is I did have an idea for what I wanted for my cover, even though I am not a graphic design person, even though I am not really visually artistic in any sort of way. I had an inherent sense of what I would have liked my cover to look like, but I also understood that that probably was not going to happen. And so I just had to be okay with the idea of having a book cover that I would think internally, no, that's not my cover, but it is a cover. And I'm still just kind of reeling from the fact that they made my book cover. That's what it is. I think that's why I had such an extreme reaction in that clip of me first seeing the colorized version, because what I had in my head had been realized, it had been actualized, and it was going to be the cover of the book. So that was super cool. And there you go, that's my cover reveal. Thank you for listening, coming along. I would love to know your thoughts on the cover. I know people have lots of different preferences for stuff like this. I would also love to know what your ideal cover for your work in progress is, if you have a vision for it. If you've attempted to make it yourself in Canva like I did, comment down below and let me know. And check back in on this channel soon, because I have a video coming out within the next couple of days about getting my author photos taken, which was so much fun. I am hoping to get that up on Friday. But until then, go be happy, go be healthy, and go write. Bye.